Hey, everybody, and welcome back again to another episode of the Wish You Were Beer Show. This is a live beer review show that we do every Thursday night here on YouTube at 8 p.m. Eastern. We also stream it through Facebook and Twitter as well. So if you're my grandparents or my angry uncle, you can find us there. We really appreciate everybody stopping by. If this is your first time stopping by or your 100th time stopping by, just do me a favor. Make sure you go down to the About section. Follow us through all the social media channels that we have available. Make sure you like and subscribe here through YouTube. That's probably one of the more important pieces for us as the show, so that we can continue to make episodes, we can continue to build a following, and maybe even get YouTube to pay for our beer one day. I don't know yet.
That's the goal, I think.
Always the goal.
Yeah.
But like I said, down on the bottom, you can find our Instagram, Twitter. Make sure you follow us on Untapped. Untapped is the social beer drinking app that we use to check in all of our beers and catalog all of our beers. So you can find all the beers we've had on there, but more importantly, you can find all the beers and all the past episodes on wishyouwerebeershow.com. So make sure you go check out our website. We've got merch. It's got all our past episodes. It's got our show calendar. So if you ever want to know what we're up to or where we're going or what's coming up next, the website's probably the best option for that, which again is wishyouwerebeershow.com. I think it's on the screen, I think.
It
is.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I only pointed that out because I literally just realized that was on the screen.
It's only been 80.
I don't say this at all.
We're only on our 79th episode.
I can just point and say, go to the website, dummies. Like,
follow the socials right here. Yeah.
well, I mean, that's like 2 of them. I don't think that really accounts for all of the socials.
I mean, maybe I should. Maybe I'll have to extend that soon. I got to get the TikTok on there because that's the most
TikTok.
important.
You got to get that Twitter on there, man. Twitter's the important one.
Yeah. And this is every Thursday.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gabriel coming in strong.
This is going to be. How much darker can Gabriel get? That's going to be the question that we're going to find out tonight.
Yeah. And Phil, a tiny house kitchen.
Yes.
This is the murder van that I'm in. I have to have my murder room be mobile. So
Right.
I'm currently in a Airstream in Austin, Texas. So yeah, it's a murder kitchen now.
Be way cooler if you drove the Airstream there, not just stayed in it. Like, I took an Airstream.
That's true. But here I am.
Here I am. I love it. So for those of you who maybe don't know, obviously I'm Daniel, this is Tiffany, and that is Phil. Phil is traveling, so you're in Austin, Texas, right? How many breweries have you gone to?
I just got in, so I was here for
this show shit, Phil. Yeah.
I was here for a work event, so I had 2 days of listening to people talk about how great they are. And
So it's every Thursday at 8 p.m.
But I am looking forward to visiting some of the breweries here. There's a lot of them here, so it's gonna be. It should be a good
town.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to St. Elmo on Saturday for their Oktoberfest to visit an old friend of ours, Daniel. So I'm gonna see the Megan.
No, Lubbock, Texas, Megan.
I am. So
I love it.
So that'll be fun. And always Oktoberfest is always fun, even when it's 98 degrees out. It'd still be fun.
That's the band, actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's always 98 degrees out in this house because they're on repeat.
Nicholas Shea.
Oh, okay.
And there goes everyone under the age of 50.
Yeah.
It's okay. They weren't here anyway.
Yeah.
Well, we got a TikTok, so maybe.
No, actually, it's a pretty big demographic if you check the things. It's 40 to 50-year-old men who are very impressed with me and you, Phil.
That's what they're here for.
And then 20-something-year-olds who stumble across this because they've been drinking all night and have Google beer poison, alcohol poisoning, and then we show up.
We met a fan yesterday.
Oh, we did.
Like, we don't know them.
I don't know them from Adam.
And they're not even from the local area. They were they were at Tradition, which is where we brewed our last collab beer. We featured it last week. So we were there, and they were there for work, and they were like, "Wish you were beer show." And I was like,
No way.
I swear to you, it was very strange.
I loved it. They won trivia, so I believe.
Are you sure it wasn't Gabriel?
I'm positive.
Yeah, maybe if Gabriel grew a foot and put on like 150 pounds of muscle, this guy was huge.
Yes, he was. Yeah, but I helped them with their last trivia question, and then they won trivia, so they got a tradition gift card and are probably using it today.
Yeah, it was very strange.
Yeah.
It was. I think that's the only time that's happened. Well, it happened in Charlotte, but
that was after
somebody we met at the event
Yeah.
saw us drunk scootering later,
Yes.
and yelled out of their truck window at us.
Wish you were
Wish you were
me.
me. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, great.
So
Man, speaking of drunk scootering, I drunk scootered home last night.
Yeah,
It was fantastic because I don't have a car here, so
Yeah.
but there's Lime scooters everywhere.
Yes.
Like they are just everywhere you go. So I'm like in a neighborhood in a residential area, and there's like one in the driveway, and I just go out there, pick it up, and I'm gone. And last night, 2 a.m. after the work event party, and I don't think the Austin streets were ready for what they saw.
God, I love it.
No, but scootering in the city while drinking is literally one of our favorite things to do.
Yeah, I
when
think
we
you
travel.
can still technically get a DUI on a scooter because it is a motorized piece of machinery.
Well,
So I mean, play it safe out there, guys and gals.
we and now that I've made it home safely, I can say this. But we were leaving the Untapped Festival, and we're on scooters, and I'm like kind of trying to figure out how to get this thing to go, and I wasn't really being very successful. Daniel has already left me. So I'm like going up this hill, like trying to like get the scooter to start. And there's like cops, like obviously checking to make sure people are being safe. And I look him deadpan in the eyes, like just, and I go, deuces. And then I took off on my motorized scooter. And
then you hit a pothole and flipped over.
No, they did not.
We are not that lucky.
They did not follow me or so.
I mean, they might follow the show now.
Huh.
You had to wish you were here now.
Yeah, but it's been too long at this point.
True.
Oh, well, speaking of our website that Daniel pointed to earlier, we do have some merch up there.
Up here.
And,
Yeah, we
Only
have,
this shirt.
Yeah, Tiffany's wearing an episode 70-something inspired shirt. I don't quite remember which one that was. And we have a new shirt for tonight. So for those who don't know, you could be put on a shirt based on your comments. We basically create a shirt for every single episode that is inspired by it. Last week we had our beer on, which is a Saison. And we talked a lot about how you wanted to keep throwing your dirty socks in there to make it taste funkier. So that inspired this shirt from last week's episode. That's right. It's a beer mug with some dirty socks in it.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I love the grass is the nice stuff.
Yeah.
Should be a little empty.
That shirt is available at wishyourbeershow.com as of today. So
yeah. I also love we should make Abby that shirt, but put her name on the socks because she's the one I consistently ask, hey, when Kevin's not around, throw your dirty socks in there. Like, let's get it done.
I actually, the original version of that for me was I found an old photo of Dejarm Cloves, and I threw that in the beer mug first. But I was like, I don't think we're going to get hit with something. So
yeah, we'll probably
get dirty socks.
Cease and desist.
Yeah.
All right.
All
so
right.
What the hell are we doing tonight, more importantly?
Another beer.
Well, this is news.
We're going to do an Altbier, which I don't think we've done on the show.
No, I don't think so.
So we're slowly but surely making our way across every beer style ever. And so today is an alt beer, and we are lucky enough to actually have a guest again. I feel like we've had a few episodes of
I feel like it's pretty consistent
Yeah.
now at this point in life.
Yeah.
But
We
anyway,
just do it so we don't have to talk. Yeah, that's why it's
God, it's my favorite.
really nice.
or they don't have to listen to us talk. Maybe.
Yeah. That's probably better. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got a guest, and we will be.
What brewery is it? What are we doing? Help me out here.
I don't know, man. You don't let me set things up for a reason.
No, you're supposed to give me the name of the brewery because you know I'm not going to pronounce
it's
it correctly.
Rosenstadt, which is Rose City in German.
Okay.
That
So the
is-
brewery's in Germany.
No.
Oh,
We'll
weird.
find out.
God, you are the worst setup.
This, well, I mean, I'm sure it's a trivia question, but people then listen up. You'll get this one right. This brewery is out of Portland, Oregon, and I discovered it while I was up there in Portland. And I also had never had an Altbier before. I didn't even know what it was. And I was pouring beers at that festival, and we had an Altbier up, and I was like, what is this? And I thought it was so good and so interesting, and it's right up my alley. So I was like, when I went out and was looking for a good alt beer for the show, this is the one I found. So I haven't had this one, but I'm excited to try it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I think we were lucky enough that we reached out to the brewery, and they were gracious enough to send us one of two co-founders of the actual brewery, which is always fun.
Yeah.
You know, we've had a litany of folks on the show. We get some outside salespeople. We get some
head brewers,
we get beer tenders, owners.
Yep.
Like it doesn't matter. We'll have anybody on the show who wants to talk about their own beer, but it's always fun to get somebody who not only has a background in beer, but is also a co-founder or owner of an actual brewery-based business, because it's such a different mindset. It's a different way to look at this industry versus, I made a great beer. Yeah, cool. I drink beer. You know what I mean?
We drink beer.
Yeah.
We don't own beer.
No.
Well, so what we'll do is we will show a little video like we always do. Take a look at some photos from the brewery, and when we come back, we'll have Tobias from the brewery with us.
Nice.
Here we go.
Tobias, welcome,
Hello.
buddy.
How is everyone?
Any better, I'd be Tobias, but not all that lucky, I guess. Well, I just want to say, first and foremost, again, as always, thank you for stopping by and being willing to spend some time with us, because it's only 5-something o'clock there, which means you're probably just getting off work or just winding down for the day. So really appreciate it, in all honesty.
Of course, you're welcome. Always happy to talk about beer.
You know, it's funny. I think that's pretty consistent. Like even some of the people we talk to, like they may have just had the shittiest day or the longest day. We've had people on, like we were talking about pre-show, who were making a delivery because their delivery person couldn't make it, and they're like in their minivan carrying kegs. And it's like a 20+ hour day, and they're like, yeah, but I'll talk about beer. I'll phone in.
So they just dialed in from they pulled over and dialed in, and it was awesome. So always happy to have guests on, and I think everyone, like you said, everyone loves to talk about beer. So we're glad that we can do it with you.
All right.
Did I butcher the name? I know we talked about it.
You did great.
Daniel,
but if you wanted to say it out loud as someone who can 100% pronounce it, let's just say you wanted to, how would you?
Well, then you have to decide first if you want to be Southern German or Northern German. But I'm Southern German, so if you really want to do Bavarian, you want to say, then we're going to roll the R, and it would be Rosenstadt. But Rosenstadt works just fine. That would be the high German, the standard German way to say it.
Stop yelling at me, Tobias.
Yes, stop yelling at me.
I was gonna say I have friends in Hamburg, and so I'm gonna go with Northern. Sorry, it's easier.
Yeah.
We just lost the whole audience.
I know.
I have heard that out of my own experience, I know that. So I'm from Germany. I grew up in Germany, and of course, every so often we do go visit. And my wife is American, and also it happens so that my dad is from Bavaria, and my mom is from Northern Germany, not quite as far as Hamburg, but close. And Northern Germans do speak much more the standard German, and they make nice little pauses in between words. And Southern German and especially Bavarian is not like that. It's basically just every sentence is just one long word.
Yes.
And she always says kind of like, your mom is much easier to understand than your dad. I can understand. I can see that.
Yeah. I know we mentioned this earlier when we were talking, but I took a couple of semesters of German because at one point in my life, I was young and enthusiastic and I was going to move to Germany.
So Tiffany, I don't know.
Tiffany, you don't know. But I remember learning that like you can basically, so you can make contractions in like American languages, but in the German language, you can basically just add words together.
Oh yeah, the beauty of compound nouns. It's awesome.
I remember learning that and just being like, what?
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. We're going to shut the beer show down. This is now a language show. You said compound nouns?
Yes.
Yeah, so basically you can take any noun and put them together, and then that noun has a new meaning, and you can actually keep going. You can put 5 together, 10 together if you want. It gets a little unwieldy at that point, but technically you could. It's grammatically correct.
That sounds like how me as a 5'7", teenager would have made fun of somebody. I'd have just thrown a bunch of nouns together, made them one word, and pointed.
Yeah, there is sort of a running joke, kind of like who can build the longest compound noun, and then you have a noun that's like a half a paragraph, basically, got one word.
I love it.
There are definitely long words that are commonly used in German. That when foreigners look at them, they're kind of like, I lost, kind of like after the first kind of like couple syllables, I'm lost. I understand that. I can see that.
Yeah. I remember like just trying to learn, and I would forget what the subject was like halfway through the sentence, or like the subject wouldn't be till the end, or like the verb would be at the very end. I was like, what is happening? I don't know. And it takes like the whole sentence to figure it out. So
anyway, you have to wait until the end to know what's actually going on. And like in German, all the other stuff, who's doing what, is all you know that at the beginning, but you don't know what they're doing until the end.
I know all the information, but what are you doing?
Yeah.
I love it. I'm actually really excited when I saw that we had an Altbier, and then when I went into kind of y'all's history a little bit and started the process of reaching out to y'all to find out that you are German, because I'm interested to hear your ideas on this beer in general versus somebody who just drinks beer and doesn't have the background on it like you do. I'm really interested to hear how some of the differences might show up, especially for Phil, because this is like your second alt beer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got nothing to go off of. So.
Well, that's usually kind of fun for me though, because you'll probably give the best idea of I got this or I thought this about it, because there's no predetermined like I think an alt beer should be this. I think it should taste like that. Fuck it, I like it or I don't.
Yeah. I will be giving one of those untapped scores where it's just about whether or not I like it. Yeah, so
I love it. Well, because you don't have a
I have nothing to compare it to.
Yeah. Not a big alt beer guy, but 2 bottle caps.
Well, should we get into some of this trivia?
It's not trivia, actually.
Whatever.
Perfect.
I got hot hands.
The greatest cuts yet, actually.
Trivia.
Got hot hands tonight.
Those of you who may not follow the show, this is the portion of the show where we get into a little bit of history and facts. We like that clip so much, we're just going to hold on to it forever. But it's really more just trivia. So we're going to ask some trivia questions, typically multiple choice or true or false. And you can follow along with us. So if you're logged in through Facebook or YouTube, you can comment along and give us your answers as well. I'll be wrong. Beryl will be right. Phil will be 50-50. So choose who you side with accordingly. But yeah, let's do some trivia.
Let's get into this.
All right. First question.
Rosenstadt
Brewery combines traditional German brewing styles with a heavy mix of non-traditional and culture-influenced styles.
Interesting.
Oh.
Based off the 2 people involved, in the limited research I did, because I'm not a research person, I'm more of a I'll figure on the job training, as they call me. I would think they're really more just German brewing styles, but in the brewery world, that's kind of hard to pull off. I think you have to have some varying options. So if you're going to be heavy German influenced beers or German style beers, I think you go crazier on the opposite end, non-traditional, with opposite, like all over the. I'm going to say true. Yes, I'm going to go with true. That was a long way to get to true, and I apologize.
Yeah, that was one of my beers.
Sorry.
I'm going to go with true on this as well. I think they're doing more than just the traditional. I think there's going to be there's a mix, because I think you have to.
Well, bad news, because everyone agrees with us except Vera, which means we're all wrong. Damn it.
All right, Tobias, what is the answer to this?
It's false. We really just make German style beers. This is what we're all about, and we're not gonna stray much from it, because this is the stuff we like to drink, and that's why we're making it. So it's really just true. And there's lots of variation in German style beers. It's not just only lagers or pale lagers, what people may think. There's a lot of bigger variety in Germany that the people don't know. For instance, as you say, this is your first Altbier. Most people don't even know about Altbier, which is sometimes tricky for us to sell an Altbier to people. They don't know what it is. But yeah, we're really just making German style beers. The only beer, I can have an example here too. The only beer where we stray just a little bit from that is this year. We're making a pale ale.
Nice. Okay.
As far as we're not making an IPA. People always say, "So where's your IPA?" And it's kind of like, we don't make one. And this pale ale is as far as we're gonna lean into that. And even then, it's all German malts and German hops. So. But that's really as far as we're going to go from the German styles.
And that's really interesting. And I
wish you were closer.
Yeah, no, we're big German style beer fans in general, and we anybody that has them locally or does them, we seek them out with some regularity.
I just had a beer from Munich. Like, I just finished it out of my boot. It was a true Oktoberfest.
Yeah, well, it was a Martin. Yeah.
Well, it said Oktoberfest. Mars.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's Oktoberfest style. It has to be.
Oh yeah. You're right. Sorry.
We've done this trivia.
Yeah. Well, I went through something. I think it's really interesting that it's all German beers, though, because within the realm of variety, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of variety just within that style, just within that portion of the beer world. Do you run out eventually? Like, so the brewery, let's say it gets to 20 years old, are we just making the German beers that we can make, or hopefully there's some new German variation? Like you know what I mean? Like, so IPAs and stuff change daily. You can add things. The adjunct game gets crazy.
Right.
German beers, you're working on a certain scale of what you can and can't use.
Yeah, I suppose, but so far we have not run out. But it's also in that sense, yeah, we guess we're very traditional in the sense that most German breweries only make, maybe a lot of them just make one beer. That's all they make. Maybe two, and maybe one seasonal throw in there, and that's it. So, and they just make the same beers, and they just make them until they have them absolutely perfected. And we're definitely more in that vein than making a gazillion one-offs.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Well, and I also think, I mean, if you take into account that you're out of Portland, like Portland has such a crazy beer scene anyway, by being only a traditional German style brewery, like you're already drastically different than the rest of them anyway, which is going to be its own draw. So from a marketing standpoint, I think you guys have nailed it.
Thank you.
It's my professional opinion. That was $300. All right. Next question. Sorry. He's reading the can. I wasn't sure what he's doing. All right. Rosenstadt Brewery, meaning, wait, hold on. I was so concerned about saying the name. Meaning Rose City is a nickname for which city close to their heart? Portland, Freiburg,
yes.
Toulouse.
Well, Toulouse is in France, and that's where you're going next week, so that's bullshit. Don't play games with me, Tiffany.
Spoiler alert, I'll be in Toulouse next week.
I know. So, they're in Portland.
Yes.
Is Portland's nickname Rose City? Do I not know anything about Portland? That's a good chance, actually.
Yeah, it's the Rose City Trailblazers, I believe, is what they're called.
Yes. Damian Lillard is a big fan.
Yeah.
I have to say A because it's the only town I recognize other than Tiffany's going to Toulouse. So I'm going to say Portland. I'm very well traveled.
I'm going with Portland as well, just because you're based in Portland, but you're doing German beers. You do a Portland sounding German mix thing, and that's I think that would make sense.
Yes, that is correct. And yes, Portland, one of the nicknames of Portland is the Rose City, and obviously we wanted to name something that shows kind of like the sense of place where we are. So that's why we picked Rose City, but just the German translation of it, Rosenstadt. So, yeah, that's where it comes from.
So where does Rose City come from for Portland? I honestly, I'm completely ignorant to that.
I actually don't know.
Okay.
I don't know where it originally started. All I know is there is a big rose garden here, where a lot of new rose varieties are bred and things like that. And then with that, there is a Rose Society. They always put on the Rose Festival, and there's a big parade in the spring, and that goes with it and all that. But I don't know where the rose thing originally started.
That's fair. I didn't even know it was the nickname, so we're in the same company.
Yeah.
I will say it was almost a trick question because Toulouse is actually called the Pink City because the bricks there were made from the local area, and it's actually they're all pink tinted. More pictures to come.
Jeez,
can't wait.
Oh God, you imagine how excited I am.
And I got 8-hour layover in Amsterdam too, so I can venture out.
She's gonna pull out the slide machine and set up the projector. All right.
I will. I'll just start sneaking photos into the trivia.
Hey, wait.
That is question 3. Yes, you can open the beer.
Question 3. I can open this beer now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're getting into question 3. So we are going to open the beer and pour it and start to drink a little bit of it throughout the rest of trivia. And again, this is our first.
Hold on 1 second. Mine's almost done. Continue.
Still prefers this beer to deep rum.
We do not recommend microwaving beer, especially when
Can you imagine? Good
That
Lord.
is fantastic.
Alright.
I'm already excited about the color. So let's keep going.
This cup.
Yeah, Phil, tell me about that crappy cup you're using.
I'll open
All
one
right.
too.
So I'm well known for whenever I stay in Airbnbs, for some reason these places don't have good cups, especially for beers, but I don't bring glass with me because I'm traveling. So I have a nice little plastic piece of crap cup.
God.
I think that's the preferred cup, I assume, Tobias, for your beer is a plastic backyard cup.
Absolutely. No, I mean, what you got right, though, is that Altbier is usually served in a sort of a stubby glass like that. It's more round and obviously glass, but you're pretty much dead on with that. So I brought the proper glassware here. Whoops, this way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice glass.
I realized I didn't have a Kolsch glass, and I was like, oh, I guess I got to add that to my. At least I've always assumed those were Kolsch glasses, but the really tall, round ones.
Yeah.
So I've been
Something like this here. Yeah.
Yep, perfect. I've been creating a list of glasses we need.
So many.
We have so many glasses already, but I need one for every style. The more styles we have on the show, the more cups I need.
True.
This is.
You need a few. You don't need for every little style, but you need a few that are useful to have. Like one of these, for instance, here for this kind of beer. Or you need maybe something like this as a little mug.
And
gotta have one of those.
You need a boot.
Obviously,
gotta have a boot. Highly necessary.
Yeah, it's more specialized. Or you need one sort of tall glass for ice beers, for instance. So.
You know what kind of glass, though, you really need? Do y'all want to know what kind of glass you need?
Oh, did you bring a bat?
I think you need one of these. I think this is what you really need.
No,
you gotta find out if the beer tastes really good.
You might have to
This is how you really gotta know whether or not the beer is good.
His heart is breaking right now. I can see it on here.
So Phil went to a baseball game of a minor league team in Portland, and
the hops and pickles.
Portland Pickles.
Yeah.
And he got that bat there, and it has been on every show ever since. He's a huge fan.
Did you do the pickle juice drinking contest?
Oh no, it wasn't happening while I was there.
Oh really? Oh, they usually do, the pickles and all that, and they always do. I don't know when. Sometime during one of the innings, they always pull out a couple of people from the audience, and they get a cup full of pickle juice, and then whoever drinks the fastest or something like that. I'm not quite sure, but
I don't know the rules, but it seems outrageous already.
And yes, causing Tobias physical pain.
Please do not drink beer out of a bat.
It tastes great out of the bat. I'm not gonna lie. So the beer definitely bats. So all right, let's get into this next question.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. True or false, Rosenstadt has been operating out of their own brick and mortar location for over a year.
Hold on. Hold the phone. So this beer won a gold medal in the Oregon Beer Awards in 2017. I get to cheat because I have a can. But own brick and mortar. So were you? So they won a gold medal, Gypsy Brewing, and then got a brick and mortar like a year ago? That sounds crazy to me. I'm going to say this is false. I think they've been in a brick and mortar longer than a year. But what do I know? I suck at this game.
I'm going to go false on this. I think they still don't have a brick and mortar.
What?
That's my guess.
That's even crazier.
I was looking at some of the pictures and I couldn't find one. So I'm going.
Interesting. You're right. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
He actually made a comment.
I was like, Phil just dragged a bunch of pictures of their beer on. What an idiot.
Yeah.
He's the worst at videos. So, damn, you might be right. But Vero says false, so I'm right.
Well, I mean.
That's also, you're right, but for the wrong reason.
Right.
All right, Tobias. Do you have a brick and mortar?
No, we don't. We're still brewing out of actually two different facilities at the moment. And we don't have our own brick and mortar yet.
Interesting.
So
are you brewing with, are you contract brewing with friends in another brewery? You know people? Or you rented a space and you do have some brewing facility, but not quite a single brick and mortar?
No, we're basically, so we're renting time and space at two different breweries. One of them is a sizable brewery here in Portland, and the other one is actually a dedicated contract brewing facility that somebody started about a year ago.
I just had that conversation here with somebody locally about if you had the right amount of people and you could set up a dedicated brewing space for contract brewing specifically. I think it's a killer, it's a great idea because a lot of people need it.
It's like the WeWork of breweries.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you will. Yeah. And so right now we're brewing out of those two facilities. We actually have I don't know. I've sort of lost almost count. I don't even know. I think I've brewed about 8 different brew houses around Portland so far. Because we have different facilities and stuff. So, yeah.
How does that work? Because for some background, Daniel and I have helped brew 2 different collaboration beers, and every brew house is drastically different. And so how does that work? Do you have to fix? You can't fix things if it's all based on the purity laws.
Do you take a day to learn their system before you brew?
I'm very curious.
Yes, it's true. I mean, every brew house is different, and even brew houses that are that are very similarly designed, they're always a little bit different. Well, it's just I mean, you have to use it. You have to actually be there, use it, and see how every brewing system works. I mean, it's similar to driving a car. I mean, a car, once you know how to drive a car, it doesn't really matter which car you getting into. However, I mean, you can drive it, right? But
Sure.
It's like, imagine you're getting let's say you rent a car at the airport and you don't know what you're getting and you've never driven whatever model you're getting. You have to get used to it first, kind of like, oh, where's the knobs for this and how fast does it turn and all these kind of things. But you know how to drive it. It's just the details you don't know. And that's sort of how it is too, where you have to sort of know and figure out those kind of things. And every brew has, it's totally different. Every lauter tun lauters a little bit differently. Every kettle has a little bit different. It's most important for us. The hop utilization is a little bit different, and you don't know it until you use it. And some lauter tuns, they run off like a champ, and some other ones, they get stuck. Even with the look at it funny, and they get stuck kind of thing. You have to experience it and do it, and then adjust from the first brew, and then go with it basically.
Have you had a situation in your experience where contract brewing like that, where you've had something that had an issue, whether it was operator error, whether it was equipment error? Have you ever had to burn a beer basically because something didn't turn out right based off of brewing somewhere you're not familiar with?
There's always something goes wrong. No, we have dumped beer. I mean, that happens, and it's almost one of the things. And if you ask most brewers, if you haven't dumped a batch of beer, then
you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. I mean, there's something to it. I mean, yes. I mean, things happen. Unfortunately, hopefully not too often. We haven't had to do it very often, but every so often it happens where something isn't up to the standards that we want, and then you have to bite the bullet there. You know.
Do you sometimes just change the name of the beer because you were trying to brew something else, but you were like, oh, we got to change the name now, and just change it to it.
You wanted to make it gold, but it turned out to be a Weiss beer. Oops.
So Andy wants to know when you're contract brewing, if there's a problem while you're brewing, you run into something unexpected and it delays your work, do you pay for extra time? Is it like a rental car? You're renting that space. You're renting the time on their tanks.
That is definitely a factor, but that's a factor in every brewery, if you will. I mean, yes, in our case, it's a little more like a rental car where, you keep the car for a day too long or 3 days too long, you pay the extra days. Then again, any business is like that too, where even if you own your own brew house, it only really makes money if you churn out beer that you can sell. So whatever it is, if it stays in the tank longer because something happened, then you're paying for it. I mean, indirectly, you're paying for it. So that happens. It depends a little bit, of course, on if there really was an error. It depends a little bit what the error was. If there was a clear error made on the contract facility, for instance, that they screwed something up and that's why it stays in longer, that's on them. But if there's something that I did or I want, then it's like, that's on me. If I want it to be in the tank for a little longer, then that's my thing. I have to pay for that. So But at the end of the day, it's like any other business where, tank turning times that's the time you're paying. It's a rented place or your own place. There's no difference really.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think you just answered this question.
Equipment break, that's on them.
Right.
That's not you.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
broken. Right.
It's one where we had to dump, for instance. That happened years ago, though, where it was a Weiss beer, I believe it was, Hefeweizen, where it was fermenting in the tank, and it was one of those. Now they actually happen more often, but back then, there was a couple of years ago, it was one of those super hot weekends where it was like 102, which doesn't happen all that often in Portland.
Yeah.
And the glycol system broke.
Yep.
And the glycol system, like most glycol system, was on the roof and wasn't cooling, and it was basically pumping, 80, 90 degree stuff. We got like,
that's not gonna work.
He just died.
We have killed everything.
I mean, it's like, stuff happens.
For sure.
Do you ever find that
nobody's fault? Happens.
I know it's hard to. I know a lot of brewers struggle with keeping like the same beer consistency every time. Does that become a challenge because you're brewing in so many different brew houses, or do you tend to how do you keep the consistency straight?
That is a challenge wherever you brew, but you just have to be careful, do things right. and have good notes, things like that. I mean, yeah.
And I think it's a lot of testing your beer throughout the process and being consistent to make sure throughout the individual stages that it's showing up where it should be.
Right.
You know, your gravities are correct, like perfect. If one's off, something's not right, and now we have time to change it versus just letting it go till the end.
Yeah.
Very cool.
One more question, then we can actually go back into trivia.
Sorry.
Is it cheaper to gypsy brew when compared to owning your own brewery?
And I apologize for using the term gypsy brew. It's pretty common down here. And I think that may have somewhat of a negative connotation with at least some of the breweries I've dealt with. They don't like the terminology because you're just a contract brewer. You don't have investors yet. You don't have, like, you're just building a business. Like, it's not, you're a gypsy, like, which tends to have a negative.
I don't know. I always thought gypsies sounded like a really cool lifestyle.
Well, Phil's in an Airstream. You can join him.
Yeah. Not that.
That's a really tricky question to answer, though, just because how the cost structure is. Every business has a different cost structure. Let's say you have your own brewing facility and it's all paid off, you have no loan payments whatsoever, and you own it all right and everything, then it's probably cheaper to brew a barrel of beer in your own facility. But if, like most businesses, you have a loan to pay off the equipment, you have investors to have you're paying out and stuff like that, then it might be a toss-up.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty accurate. I think it's a toss-up depending on what your financial and business setup is, which it could vary person to person.
Yeah.
For me, it would be tough to not have a place to kind of brew it and then serve it. I think that would be the part that I would miss out on if I was doing that.
Yeah, and that is the tricky part, and we would like to have our own place at some point. So I mean, this is not we don't want to do this forever this way, and that has been. People always approach us going, so where's your place I can go? And that is a little bit tricky for us because we don't have it. Of course, the last sort of 2-3 years have sort of derailed a lot of plans that we had for obvious reasons. I mean, the one reason, really for us was when the Corona pandemic started, that we were all draft. We had no package whatsoever.
Oh, shit.
And when everything shut down, all restaurants, all bars shut down from one day to the next. We literally had our sales went literally from one day to the next to zero because we had nowhere to sell. Most other breweries who had stuff in package and in stores, of course, stores were open. Of course, all of a sudden in the grocery stores, the beer sales were skyrocketing because you can't go out, you take it home. But we had nothing. So that, of course, was very tricky for us and very precarious. We made it out, but that was a very tricky situation. That derailed a lot of time for us.
Yeah. That is hard. I did read that y'all have your own place that you're taking over for, like, you've taken over all their taps, the Olympia Provisions Public House, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Awesome. So,
well, not all the taps, but the majority of it.
Well, that's still really cool. And I read it was like a German themed food and whatnot too, so it pairs really well, which is awesome. Yeah,
they're good friends of ours. They make great food. And if there's one place you want to go, and if you happen to be in Portland, the Olympia Provisions Public House would be the place to go, where they have 7 of our beers always on tap, and you can taste the most variety of what, not everything we make, but the biggest variety that we make. And they have a big, awesome patio. It's now covered, of course, and everybody covered their patios after we left. An awesome, huge patio out front, and it's a good place.
Oh, I had one of your beers at Lovely's 50/50, which for those who don't know, it's a pizza place that was just on Chef's Table.
Yeah, that's
it was one of the nine pizza places in the world that got to be on that show, and I had your Pilsner there, so that's a great spot that you're in right now because that pizza place is about to explode.
Pilsner and pizza are like best friends.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that pizza place is probably packed right now after being on that show. So that's probably a good spot to be for you right now.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Everyone loves your accent.
Yeah, 100%. Let's get on to question 4. I'm trying to talk about this beer.
All right. Which medal did the Altbier win in 2020? Honorable
2.
mention, best alternative style or bronze
Fuck, the can only says gold medal.
in 2017.
Oh, in 2022.
Oh, so
Yeah, you're
recently
right.
won an.
I just love that one option is bronze.
It just won a bronze.
Well,
And
I mean,
it-
there's
and it-
bronze, silver, gold.
This shouldn't be an alternative style because this is a. I mean, maybe.
Well, even then, this is a confusing question too because
Just pick me,
the only metal on there is bronze. You don't like best alternative style. You'd either win the gold, silver, or bronze in best
So,
alternative style.
Honorable mention is everyone in California who didn't dress out for PE, and you got a participation award.
Yeah, so I'm going with C on this one.
I'm with you. I'm going to go with C as well. Yeah. I think that's solid deduction
reasoning.
there.
Yeah. All right, Tobias. I think everyone except Andrew's going to heavy D.
It said D, heavy.
It's D. We won a bronze medal at the Beer World Cup for the playoffs.
Yeah.
The gold medal was for the Oregon Beer Award.
Yep.
We got the gold medal for that. Yep.
Y'all won a bunch of other awards there as well, but you got second annual best brewery in Oregon. Or brewery of the year.
New York beer, something. What is it called?
I've
got so many awards. I just gotta find which one it is.
New York Beer Competition.
I love how humbly he was looking for the award, like it wasn't hanging in the background. Going, damn it, you're good enough, you're smart enough. Like, oh yeah, this one. I apologize. Here you go.
I love it.
I do. As well.
All right, I think we got one last one we'll do, and then we'll talk about this beer.
All right, true or false? Alt beers traditionally use top fermenting yeast.
Wait. So they flip flop fermentation in like cold, warm, like it's a dual style. But is it top fermented yeast? Fuck.
I'm going top.
I just read you always go top, Phil. I think yes. I think it is top fermented.
Tobias, what is it?
It's top fermenting. Yes.
All right.
God, thank God.
And the whole warm cold thing, you were onto something there. So traditionally, the bottom fermenting yeasts are more cold tolerant. So the lager yeasts are bottom fermenting, and then the top fermenting yeasts are the yeasts that need the warmth. So an Altbier is an ale, so it's top fermented. And then yes, it's just lagered cooler afterwards, but that it's just a top fermenting yeast. Nothing really special about it.
I mean,
it
I
tastes pretty
disagree.
special.
I'm trying it, and I'm going to disagree with you. There's some specialty about this beer. No.
All right. So at this point, Tobias, I'd love for you. We got to get into this beer that we're having right now. I mean, we're not going to talk about how much I love this beer yet, but I want to know how does one brew an alt beer? What is an alt beer? Just give us a little history on this.
So Altbier, literally, alt means old. So as one can see, it's a nice amber brown beer. It hails from the city of Düsseldorf, in the middle of Germany. And in Germany, you have to realize things are very, very regional. Although the country isn't all that big in comparison to the US, but the regional cultural differences are big. And so Altbier is really only brewed in Düsseldorf. And not only that, it's also, if you go to Düsseldorf and you go somewhere into a place in the Altstadt, which is the center of downtown, and you would order a beer, this is what you get. And really only this is what you get. Nothing else, basically. There are how many, 12 or so? No, 8 or 12 different Altbier breweries, and they all make Altbier, and that's all they make. They make only one beer, and it's Altbier. But they taste all a little bit differently. So you can go to Füchschen or Schlüssel or Urige, and they will taste different, although they're all within the Altbier range. And as I said, it's really a beer that's only made and drunk in Düsseldorf. Even outside Düsseldorf, you won't find an Altbier on a menu all that often. Maybe you will in a more specialty beer place, but in a normal restaurant, you won't find it. So the nice thing about it, it's an ale. It's a nice. It's a very comforting beer in the sense that it has these darker malt flavors to it. So you have to think sort of dark bread crust kind of thing. And so it has a little bit this comfort. So what people a lot of times associate with true winter beers, like a winter warmer kind of thing, when it's cold outside and you want to cozy up to a fire, you want to have a nice dark kind of like beer that has a lot of these darker malt flavors in it. And the Altbier definitely has that, but it finishes quite dry. And so it's not a sweet beer, kind of like an overly sweet, really caramelly dark beer. And it's only 5.1% or something like that. So it drinks like just any other lighter lager, and so you can have a couple of those. But they're really nice, hearty beers. And as I said, they're finish a little drier. They also, depending now again which brewery or which Altbier you have, which Altbier flavor or variety you have, they either tend to be a little hoppier or not so hoppy. Ours, I think, is a little on the hoppier side, so you do get this little dry hop snap at the end that we like. But it's a really nice, refreshing beer that you can drink in the summer. People always think, "Oh, it's a dark beer," but no, it's a really lovely, refreshing beer you can drink all year long. That's what they do.
Those 5% or 5.1, 5.2, 5.3. Yeah. If it's below 6, that's a summer beer. I don't care what if it's dark, if it's light. The
lacing is so pretty. I was like paying attention to it. I was like, oh my gosh, the like protein content with like the lacing. It's very. Sorry. This is a really pretty beer. Like it,
no, and I think you hit the nail on the head. Like alt beers are like a weird. I consider them like a weird gateway beer to styles that people aren't comfortable with. Because if you're used to drinking a light beer, light in color and light in flavor, basically, right. And then you get an alt beer and it's the same alcohol percentage, and then you get some better flavors out of it. You're like, oh man. Well, maybe I could also drink something this same color that's heavier in flavor here, heavier here. Like right. This is my go-to like gateway drug of going from light beer to dark beers. Basically, the alt beer is like that perfect middle ground.
Really easy drinking and stuff. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but if you look on the can here, it's basically the background image here. It's like a coaster kind of thing. Yeah. So it's basically this coaster here. And if you see there's little marks on here, and this is how it works in Düsseldorf, or still in a lot of places in Germany, but especially in Düsseldorf and in Cologne actually too, where Altbier usually, as I said earlier, Phil, they are served out of these sort of quite small, sort of stubby kind of glasses. They are usually only like 0.4, so 400 milliliters or less. So they're not big, kind of like what people always think of Germany. Oh, big, that's the Bavarians with their big, huge mugs. But in Düsseldorf, you drink it out of these smaller glasses. And so you order beer and they make a little mark on your coaster. And then if you order another one, they make another mark. And at the end of the night, when you're ready to go, they just count how many marks you have and say, well, you had so many beers, I'll ring you up, kind of thing. So that's why they're all those little hash marks on here. So.
Yeah, interesting. I love that.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the tick marks on the coaster there. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it's almost maybe not more extreme, but it's a similar situation in Cologne where you drink Kolsch out of 0.2, so 200 milliliter glasses, so tiny in comparison to other places. And again, it's the funny thing also, as I said, things are so regional in Germany. Cologne is 45, it's less than an hour away from Düsseldorf. Yet in Cologne, all they make is Kolsch. And if you go to Cologne and order a beer, all you get is Kolsch. And don't ever, oh, by the way, order an Altbier in Cologne or a Kolsch in Düsseldorf. They're going to tell you to leave. But besides that, in Cologne, it's like that too, where you have these tiny glasses and you would say, what's a tiny glass? Kind of like, yeah, but you sit down and there's a guy walking around and that's all. There's only one beer. There's no beer menu to choose 15 different IPAs from. They'll make one beer. So he plops the glass in front of you and you drink your glass. When it's just about empty, he comes around and plops another one down until you say you're done. And every time, of course, he makes a check mark on your coaster. So they're small glasses, but you get a new one every time. You don't even have to order it; they just appear basically. So they're always fresh, and they're always cold.
Like in a restaurant, you got the person with like the water pitcher, and they're constantly going around and filling everyone's water, except for it's beer, which is even better.
Basically.
Sounds pretty dangerous to me.
Get the water out of there. Have the beer.
Well, that's why they're small glasses, right? So.
Yeah, so you feel better about it. But if I have 35 small glasses,
but then I'm over here looking at all my tick marks going, oh, we are going to have a problem.
It's when you look at the person next to you and you just switch it real quick. Ooh.
Oh, there's a little bit of an honor system involved.
Always keep a fresh coaster.
Thorn. Always keep a fresh coaster thorn. I don't know what you're talking about, Gabriel. All right. Go ahead, Bill.
I was going to say, Tobias, what's coming up at Rosenstadt? What are you excited about?
Well, it's to some extent it's the change of the seasons. I mean, right now, of course, it's Oktoberfest time, so we always, of course, make our Oktoberfest beer.
Do you guys celebrate Oktoberfest? Because I thought that was an American holiday.
Favorite time of year where you make our fest beer, and this is a true seasonal where we only make so much a year, and when it's gone, it's gone kind of thing. Nice. But it's always one of our favorite times. And the one thing that we do a lot of times during Oktoberfest time, we do kind of like a traditional keg tapping, where you have to hammer in the tap and kind of thing. So we basically just every weekend we're going to do one of those for the next couple of weeks. So that's always a fun thing to do. So yeah.
And where will you be hosting that?
So as a matter of fact, actually tomorrow at 5:00 at Belmont Station. That's a well-known beer bar here in Portland. And last week we did one at John's Market, which is basically.
I went to John's Market. I lived right near it.
The east side or the west side location? The one on.
I was in the west location.
Yeah, they have another one on the east side, which is bigger even, and it's one of the things.
Okay.
If John's Market doesn't have that beer, you won't find it anywhere in Portland. Basically, it's huge.
This is actually where I picked this one up. So that's really funny. I picked it up at John's on the west side.
Yeah. So we did one last week there, and then in 2 weeks, I think we have a bigger Oktoberfest celebration at Olympia Provisions on October 1st.
Very cool.
So anybody in Portland or who wants to come to Portland for that, please come down. And actually at Belmont Station tomorrow, the first couple of people who come get one of these. So this is the vessel you want to drink best beer out of. So
yeah, absolutely.
Not technically a boot, but this is just fun.
Pretty damn close.
Yeah. So Vero has asked, are you selling outside of Portland or are you planning to?
Outside of Portland, yes, but only in Oregon. And only Portland is the biggest city in Oregon. I don't know how familiar people are with Oregon. There's basically Portland, and then there's some other smaller cities, and then a lot of very small cities. So we are selling mostly in Portland or Portland Metro. And we do sell a little bit in Salem and in Eugene, but it's very sporadic there. And yes, we would like to expand, especially we would like to expand into Vancouver, Washington, which is literally, there's places, I can drive to Vancouver in 10, 15 minutes from here, yet I can't go there because it's a different state. Yeah. And of course, state alcohol laws are very different from state to state. So it's very frustrating that there's a whole nother metro area right next door, basically, but we can't go there because there's a state border in between.
Yeah.
So we would like to expand at least into the southern Washington market, hopefully soon, and then we'll go from there.
Well, good luck with that. I know we have some friends who run breweries, and they've been telling us for
state laws are tough.
It's easier to ship beer overseas.
Yeah, almost.
Ship in between state lines, which is just crazy.
Yeah, and it's really true. I mean, if I would. If you deliver over in Washington, that I would have to record that as an export. And in that sense, there's no difference. If I export to Japan or to Washington,
right,
basically the same.
Same idea. Yeah. Yep. I love it.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, Tobias. We have to rate this beer. We got to do our Wish You Were beer.
Yeah.
You're welcome to hang out in the lobby and watch us.
But you might get dragged in if you want to. But if you have to go home, or I say go home, but if you have to be done, you're more than welcome to as well.
But really do appreciate you coming in.
100%.
So does everyone else for sure. Your accent is a big hit. And you are technically our first international guest.
Yeah, in theory. Yeah.
So
yeah.
That is
yeah.
I mean, I also consider the West Coast international, but yeah.
No.
Oh, you're saying I see. Okay.
What's wrong with you?
Well, no, we do thank you for coming on, Tobias. You can come back anytime if you got something else you want us to try. We'd be happy to have you back on.
Yeah.
We do make
everyone
10 or 11 kinds of beers, so
100%. Yeah.
We're in. Yeah.
German beers. I love all of them, and yes, please.
And if anyone is in Oregon, find Rosenstadt.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm excited to review this, and it's obviously going to be a high score for us, I think.
Yeah.
So, thank you for coming on, Tobias, and we will be talking to you again soon.
Yes. Thank you.
Prost. All right. Cheers.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
What does Prost mean?
It's cheers.
I'm just kidding, guys.
I love when these shows go long, and I have no idea they're going long because I'm just having such a good time.
They're so long. Yeah, we gotta get through. Let's review this beer. All right. First of all, thank you again to Tobias. Really appreciate you stopping by. And tonight we are reviewing
the Rosenstadt Altbier. They are out of Portland, Oregon, and they traditionally just brew, they brew traditional German beers. So they follow the Reinheitsgebot or boat.
Boy, that was butchered.
Yeah.
You said I thought you nailed it.
Nice try.
It's the German purity law, and I've also had 2 beers, so I apologize.
We'll give her a shot.
Yeah, whatever. I tried. But yeah, they follow the German purity laws for brewing, and based on this beer alone, they're doing a phenomenal job.
Oh, so you're rating the beer first?
Yeah, I'm rating it first.
All right, go for it.
This is phenomenal. I love the malt base of it. It's delicious. I don't know how to
Very scientific.
It is. Yeah. Again, 2 beers. So, but no, it's really good. It is dry at the end. So I just want to keep drinking more of it, and I'm running out, and I'm really sad about that. So I keep wanting to baby it so I don't run out of it, because I'm sad knowing that this is the only one we have.
Very sad.
I am very sad. This is the best alt beer I have had, and I do love the malt size the malt style beers. Wow, I'm fine. No, I love malty beers, and so alt beers are usually a beer that I will try and seek out. There's not very many of them.
Yeah. Well, not in our area, but yeah.
Yeah. Maybe if I go to Düsseldorf. Not next week, though.
Well, Harry Potter's a movie. I don't think you can just go there.
Okay. I'm giving this a 5 out of 5.
Oh, nice.
Because this beer is, one, it's a super pretty beer. It smells delicious. Yeah. Honestly, I could drink a lot of these. Maybe not based on my ability to speak currently.
Your current ability? Yeah.
I would like to drink a lot of these. How about that?
Fair.
There you go.
You're well on your way. So for me, I also really enjoy this beer. Alt beer is definitely a style that we seek out pretty consistently, like Tiffany said. For me, I really enjoy it. It said on the can subtle caramel notes. I got a lot of that out of the front end. I don't think it was subtle at all for me personally, which is great because I enjoy that. Definitely dry finish and super easy to drink, low ABV. It's also a high score for me. I'm not exactly where Tiffany is, but I'll definitely give it a 4.25 any day of the week.
Nice. So y'all know I've not had a lot of alt beers, but this is my style jam for sure. And I remember when I was at the festival, we were pouring all these beers, and everything on tap was either a hazy, IPA, it was something else. And I was like, Altbier. It's like, this sounds interesting. And I remember pouring it out and seeing the color, and I was like, oh, this is going to be what I'm going to be drinking at this festival all week. So that's why it got me excited, and I kept seeing more and more when I was in Portland, and got me excited to do this one. This is the best one I've had out of all the ones that I had when I was there. Sure. And because I haven't had enough of them, I can't quite go as high as Tiffany with the 5, but I'm gonna go 4.75.
No,
so because it's just so good, and it's crushable in a weird way, which is weird for a darker beer to be.
Yeah.
That's all beer, man. It's one of my jams.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so nice, and it kind of reminds me of when I was having our Dortmunder, in the sense of like, I'm drinking it and I'm thirstier for more.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like that. It's got that going on. So I could drink these all night. So
Vero hit the nail on the head with a really strong mustard.
Yep.
Like this is
interesting.
I love this. I want more. I want like a dark crusty bread with it, with like mustard and like, I don't know, a salty.
I just want more of the beer.
A salty meat and maybe some sauerkraut
or any sauerkraut.
I love sauerkraut.
Just give me the beer.
I love sauerkraut.
Is anyone in our audience done the math on that one yet? Where we're at? Is that a 4.5 or 4.75?
Well, yeah, because I was under, Tiffany was over, so you're the mid range.
4.7.
All right. So we gave Altbier from Rosenstadt out of Portland a 4.75. Also, I'm just going to mention it because I love can art. This can art's, I love this. I love the multicolor, depending on which one you're
and now that we know about the tick marks in the coaster,
right?
Like this thing got way more in depth.
It's so cool. I love can art that like has a story to it in some way, shape, or form. And yes, the tick marks, and being one that they're a traditional German style brewery, but that they put like a weird, like something that like Americans have no idea of. Like,
and you know, when a German's in Portland and they get this, they're like, oh, look how exciting it is.
That was the most condescending
Hans and Franz
German accent I've ever heard.
Hans and Franz. I've been listening to a lot of Dana Carvey lately. So
I think Kevin Nealon's in that sketch as well, sir.
He is, but I've been listening to Dana Carvey, so that's
fair.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap this up. I gotta pee.
We got one more section that we all prepared ourselves for, I'm sure.
Damn it. All right, let's do it real quick. All right, so for those of you unfamiliar with the show, this is where we take a quick second, because I have to pee, on what we wish was beer from the week, the month, the year, our entire childhood, our past lives. I don't know what you believe in. But
go ahead.
So we're going to wish you were beer right now. For me, it's really easy. I talked to Tiffany about it today, but I wish fleas were beer. Because I was at work today and I went into a property that a lot of fleas immediately showed up on me. And by a lot, I mean like by the hundreds. And I just wish they were beer. I'd way rather be covered in beer walking into a house versus covered in fleas.
God, it sounds like the Airstream I'm in right now.
Fleas are like my worst nightmare. Like the fleas are bad in general. So like, even though Charlie has his flea and tick medicine, every once in a while he brings like one flea in that like hasn't.
And Tiffany won't sleep for like a week.
And it hasn't bitten him and died yet. It's just like hanging out. And then we'll like find it while we're sitting like snuggling with the dog on the couch. And
I'm like, wish you were beer fleas too?
No, I just wanted to.
I have to pee.
Go
so
pee.
bad.
You've
Go.
left in the middle of the episode before.
I'll never leave in another episode.
Tiffany, what do you wish was beer this week?
I wish international travel / like the preparation for was beer. So I have never traveled internationally. I did live in Japan for 4 years, but I traveled there through the military. So for me, traveling it's always been easy because it's like state to state. And it's like, I have TSA, like whatever, like pre-check, like it takes me like 30 seconds to get through everything. I get to keep my stuff on. But like the concept of customs, and the fact that it's going to take me like 16 hours to get to where I'm going to be is one, it's extremely daunting, but two, it's going to be just time consuming and shitty. And if it was beer, I would be super excited to like deal with that. I'm currently not excited to deal with that. I will be drinking champagne to get through it.
Oh, hey, you guys.
But if it was beer, I'd also be super stoked.
All right. I get that. It's one with all the traveling I'm doing right now. I would love for all this shit to be beer. It'd be a lot easier.
Yeah.
I'd forget a lot more at home if it was beer, but you know, that's
true. Instead of just leaving the one beer in the driveway.
Yes. This week, Vero says she wishes mentally unstable bosses were beer because going to work would be happy hour all day.
Should we look up Gabriel's? I don't know.
I'm a little concerned, but we're going to look at Gabriel's. Let's see how his marriage is doing. Gabriel says, I wish my marriage was beer because when I've had enough, I could invite friends over to help finish them off.
Yeah, you said them. I think you're doing marriage wrong. That means
your friends. What is happening in this statement?
There's a lot of pronouns here I'm not comfortable with.
There's a lot going on, Gabriel. This week for me, I had a second. Oh, I wish that overweight luggage fees were beer because I wouldn't mind paying them if they were beer. I got on I pulled up to the airport to fly here, and I'm carrying everything I own currently. So and you only get 2 checked bags. So keeping that under 50 pounds was pretty difficult. And the airline did not care that it was like 3 or 4 pounds over. They were very happy in charging me $100 per bag more than what I had already paid. So if someone was like, hey, you got too much beer, I'm going to have to charge you a little extra for so much beer. I'd be like, all right, that's okay.
So, next time you put on as many clothes as you possibly can.
Stuff them.
When you have everything, you're just like, I don't care. Take it. You know how hard it is just to drag like 3 bags plus a backpack through an airport? Like, just take it. I don't care anymore. Get rid of it.
So again,
when each are over 50 pounds.
Well, I had Ozzy, who you met before she passed away.
Before we killed her.
In her like giant travel thing. So we had to like carry around her big because we were traveling.
She traveled in a ball pit.
No,
we had to carry the ball pit.
Ozzy came with us to Japan and then back. And we
Ozzy's a dog, by the way, not a child.
Yeah, so we had a dog and a cat in like airline approved kennels. We had 2 small children, and then all of our things that we owned that didn't get shipped internationally. We had like 70 bags and a dog and a cat. It was literally the worst experience of my life, and I will never travel with animals again. Not with children. Not both.
All right.
This has been an interesting story. All right.
Well, we're 13 minutes over tonight. We just keep getting longer and longer.
So over. Said no one ever.
Said no one's ever said to Daniel.
All right. I was gonna make a comment, and I was like, "No, Tiffany, Tiffany, do not make this comment."
Next week though, we have an exciting show, and Tiffany, I hear you might not be here for it, and I'm so sad you're missing out on this show.
2 a.m. hits a little different.
But this show is going to be great. This is our 80th show next week.
Yeah,
which is crazy to me that we've done 80 of these in a row. Next week we are doing a whole flight of beers from Top Rung Brewing.
Yes,
I'm excited about this. Anytime I get to have 4 beers on a show that are from the same brewery instead of 4 beers on a show that are multiple breweries, like I normally do. Yeah, very exciting.
I love that we're calling it a flight as if we're only going to have the 4-ounce pours of each.
Yeah, no, there's 3 4-ounce cans and 1 baby can, and I'm going to drink all of them.
Yeah, I'm excited about this baby can. It's a sour, and when they gave me, so I went to this brewery. They were so lovely there. I told them, I said, do you want to come on the show? And literally the guy pulled up this whole case of beers and put them in front of me. And he said, here you go. This is what we'll do on the show. And I was like, this is so many beers, dude. And he was like, I don't know, just take them. And I was like, okay. I was like, perfect. We'll do a flight episode. We haven't done a flight episode, so we're going to have the Top Rung's coming on, and they're gonna walk us through this flight, and I'm excited about this.
I'm excited about it as well. And Tiffany will be traveling, so Tiffany's technically already had 2 of them.
I gotta film all my reviews. She's got to pre-record
her reviews, so she's the only one who's had any of these beers at this point.
You should be excited.
Yeah.
Nice. And then we're also some people in the audience right now. We also sent them some lucky commenters and followers, so they're gonna come on the show as well with us. That should be fun. Yeah.
We can't send.
You didn't know this?
Email?
You knew. Don't lie to me.
Well, this is news.
Don't lie to me about dumb shit.
So we're gonna have 3 guests of the show on as well. So it's gonna be a full screen of people drinking a flight of beers. This is gonna be a real mess. This is gonna be the loudest, most messiest episode. I'm excited.
No, one of you needs to be a facilitator, and then you call on people.
Nope.
Please.
You're not going to be here for it. We can do it however we want.
I'm going to dial in now. 2 a.m. Tiffany is going to look a little bit different, but she's coming
2 a.m. Tiffany always looks a little bit different for the record.
I mean, it's not far off from this. Sometimes I'm in a cool silk cap.
All right, roll this beautiful bean footage that's going to close this out. Who is it, you or Phil this week? Who's going to close it out?
I got this. Thank you tonight to Tobias from Rosenstadt out of Portland for coming on to the show. That was, so much fun, especially listening to a German man talk about beer for an hour is probably like the greatest thing that's happened to me in a long time. It's just either sad or exciting. I don't know which one that is.
Could go either way.
But either way, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. We had a blast with you. And then everyone who's watching, commenting, the comment section was on fire tonight, and I love seeing that. So thank you to everyone who watches. Make sure that you like and subscribe to us. That's super important on YouTube for us. It helps us continuing to grow the show. And we hope everyone follows us on social media, especially on TikTok. We're blowing up over there. So definitely follow us on TikTok. Oh, and go buy last week's shirt, which is about dirty socks. Who doesn't want this shirt?
God.
You can get that shirt at wishyourbeershow.com. And I think that's about it, right? Did I get it all?
Sure.
Well, you never want to quite get it all, but well done.
That's what they all tell me. Well, have fun in France next week, Tiffany.
Whatever.